Welcome to the Office of the Leader of the Opposition coverage of the consideration of estimates for Budget 2023 live from the Arthur Chung Conference Center in Guyana.
It in time to receive a passport after application is received from the sub-offices in Ghana present.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The waiting time for the years 2018-28 to receive a passport after an application is made at the sub-offices. Providing these services is 7 days.
Thank you, Minister.
Statements by ministers, including policy statements. Personal explanation. Request for leave to move the adjournment of the National Assembly on definite matters of urgent public importance. Motions relating to the business or sittings of the National Assembly and moved by a minister. Introduction of bills. Public business. Government's business.
Honorable members, the House will now resolve itself into the Committee of Supply to consider the estimates of expenditure for financial year 2023. And we're just about an hour and 50 minutes behind the time we started last. We're now in Committee of Supply. Honorable members, we can turn to pages 90 and 91. Current expenditure. And I allow Department staff to join the Honorable Minister for Parliamentary Affairs and Governance. Thank you. Honorable members, I propose the question that the sum stated for agency 7, Parliament Office, Program 071, National Assembly. That
Thank you
the
very
sum
much, Mr.
stated
Chairman.
now stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Campbell.
Mr. Chairman, I see approximately $40 million increase for this year, and under other recurrent charges. This is Appendix T at page 667 that shows the expenditures and where they're going. Of a $35 million increase. Could the Honorable Minister indicate whether this increase of $35 million is to get the various other commissions, like the Economic Service Commission, Oversight and Public Security, to start operationalized? And that is what this $35 million is going to.
Honorable Minister.
Could the honourable members say which head he's on?
It is the Mr. Speaker, there is a lot of zeros all around the place in relation to that. But what we do have, as you would appreciate, is page 667. Please. And the line item there is recurrent expenditure, other recurrent charges. If you notice it, Comrade Gill.
Just for information of those members, a lot of the zeros, because the Parliament gets the lump sum, and you're
That's
absolutely
correct.
What is an indicative allocation is listed in that appendix.
That's right. So that is why we refer back to that page
Yes.
to find out whether that extra sum is going to go towards. It's Appendix T, page 667 of Volume 1. We are
He
at
is
page
correct. The appendix C citing is accurate.
Yes. No. It is. Mr. Well, it's because the line items that I'm talking about here are zero at page 1991. What you do is you go back. Please, it's got to be explained.
My honorable minister.
Other recharges on Appendix T refers to all the other charges, which include a number of the activities of the Parliament, such as the rental of this building, such as meals, plus as allowances, etc., plus the Youth Parliament, a number of things that would be under this total, so that the 30-odd million you're quoting would come from, in some cases, increases in prices and or increases in activities by the Parliament. So if you're more specific, I can help you answer that.
I'd like to know then, where is the expenditure coming from to get these other commissions and committees operationalized after 2.5 years?
Mr. Speaker, the reasons for the committees not functioning has nothing to do with finances. It has to do with the chairman of committees, of which some are on your side, calling the meetings. So there's no financial impediment, as far as I know, Mr. Speaker, to the functioning of the committees. In addition to that, Mr. Speaker, if we look at the areas that the honourable member is referring to, the largest area is rental and maintenance of buildings, where a large increase goes from 82.9 million to 130, which has to do, could you find rental? That this is your big area of increase, as well as maintenance of infrastructure. These are your two big heads that you have had increases. If you look at Appendix T, rental and maintenance. Transport actually has dropped. Utility charges have gone up slightly. Other charges has gone down. So that your main area for increases on the other recurrent has to do with the rental of buildings, which it goes up about almost 40 million. And under that head with rental of buildings, you have maintenance. Let me deal with that one first. Rental and maintenance of buildings. You have maintenance and repairs. Is that the same thing I have? Right. Yeah. Right. So repairing of the outer walls of the public buildings and repairs and repainting of the western stairways, tiling and repainting of the police barrack room and the outpost, installation of lighting system on the public buildings, repairing of the CAO's office and the passageway, repainting the members of Parliament lounge, removing carpets. What? This is maintenance. It's not capital. It's maintenance. You're not doing new infrastructure, as far as I understand. Cleaning and polishing tiles. It goes on to a number of issues, all to do with Parliament buildings, etc. So that's maintenance of buildings. Under 6241, which is rental, you have the rental of official residences for 5 ministers and rental of Arthur Chung Conference Centre, on average 53 sittings per annum at $26 million. So I think those two heads alone account for what you're seeing as a $34 million increase.
Leader of the Opposition.
I don't know. Are you asking that? You would have to ask me that.
Yes, well, I'm saying on the rents, whatever else is the ground, because these, you started indicating what it is the rentals are for. I want to know if indeed there's been any increase for Leader of the Opposition.
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I am appalled by the honourable member who's been a member of this House for so long, being uncertain as to where to ask these questions when he should know where the Leader of Opposition money is. But I will answer it, and I hope I can help him, because I know he needs help. The honourable member needs a lot of help. If we go to 6284, which you look at the Parliament document, as well as T. So when you look at, as the budget document tells you, to look at page 90 to 91 for Parliament Office, and page 493 for Capital. That then is summarized in Appendix T, page 667. But your breakdown of your subheads and heads can be found on page 90 to 91 of Volume 1. And so I will direct the Honourable Member to look at 6284, which has other. And so under 6284 other, please remember, Comrade Minister, Mr. Ramnathan, that the constitutional bodies receive a lump sum and then they allocate it based on the heads and subheads that are required by budgeting. So the Leader Opposition is under, 6321, subsidies and contributions to local organizations, which I think you will see on if you look at 667, subsidies and contributions to local and international organizations comes up to 42,411,000. So that includes two heads, 6221, which is to local organizations, and 6322 to international organizations. This will be the Leader Opposition at 28,211,000, and international organizations 14,200,000. Right? 28,211,000. That is current and not capital. When we come to capital, you'll see there's an allocation there for the Leader Opposition as well. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 7, Program 071, National Assembly current expenditures stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. If we can turn to page 493, capital expenditure. Same program. And I now propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 071, National Assembly capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Honourable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Minister can give us a breakdown in terms of the allocation on this line item, which is 4,000,100. In the legend, it states that it is for upgrading of facilities, purchase of furniture and equipment. Could you give us the cost for each of the projects?
Honourable Minister.
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Lawrence, the total is 50 million for capital, and it's broken down in the following ways. Procurement of 4 electrical gates and walk-through metal detectors, 11 million. Procurement of security cameras, 11 million. Construction of 2 guard huts, 7 million. Procurement of seats for the public gallery of the Parliament Chamber, 3 million. procurement of one 16-seater bus, 9,357,000. Procurement of furniture and equipment, 3,643,000. And Office of the Leader Opposition, 5 million.
Honorable Member, Mr. Ramchatan.
Minister, is for the Stabrook office, not this building.
Yeah, the Parliament office, yeah, in public buildings.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I now put questions that the sum stated. Sorry, Honorable Member Mr. Jones.
Thank you very much, Comrade Speaker. Just for clarity, is the Honourable Minister indicated, or has the Honourable Minister indicated $7 million for 2 guard huts?
Yes. Yes, sir.
But we have to be careful. They are just guard huts. They are security officers that will have the electricals, operate the gates, and
CCTV.
so forth. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 071 National Assembly capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Thank you, Honorable Minister and the staff of the National Assembly. We now invite the Auditor General and his staff to join the Honorable Minister to take us through the Audit Office of Guyana. And I invite honorable members to turn to pages 94 and 95. And I now propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 8, Audit Office of Guyana, Program 081, Audit Office, current expenditure, that the sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the Honorable Minister. Minister, I turn to Appendix T on 668. I'm looking at employment cost. I note the revised figure for 2022 is some $819,562 million as opposed to the 2023 amount budgeted of $109,117. I'm asking what would be the additional categories of employees. I assume that will be added to the audit office. And could we know whether there is a special department that is looking at oil and gas, and what are the different portfolios therein? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mrs. Lawrence. There are 2 reasons for the increase in the, you'll see in the wage items that are listed. This is 2 reasons. One is the 8% increase across the board. And also at the Public Accounts Committee, we approved the appointment of a number of persons to the audit managers, is it? Audit managers. So these now are catered, their salary increases are catered now in the budget. Right?
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Minister, could you kindly indicate whether the office has within articles that deal specifically with oil and gas? And if you do, what are the nature 5 persons?
Sorry, madam, could you repeat as I was trying to get an answer for you for something, the earlier question? So could you repeat, please?
Honorable Member.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Madam Minister, I'm asking whether the audit department has an oil and gas section. And if they do, what are the designation of the top 5 persons?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, there is a section that's part of the performance audit section. It's new and it has 8 persons working in it. I'll ask the Auditor General to provide me with the top 5 positions if you have them. Oh, sorry. According to the Auditor General, it's now being set up. It has not been set up as yet, but they made provision for it.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 8, Program 081, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated for this agency now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, we can turn to page 494, sorry. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 8, Audit Office, capital expenditure, that the sum stated stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I must ask for your excuse to sit on the rail here of this seat. Just allow me to get up quickly. My question to the Honorable Minister is, what does the $25 million entail? Is it for the head office or is it for the offices in the regions? We're talking about furniture. I see here furniture and equipment.
Honorable Minister.
Yes, thank you very much. The 25 million focuses a lot on furniture, equipment, software, etc. And it's all focused on the head office at the Auditor General's, not in the outlying offices.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 081 Capital Expenditure, Audit Office of Guyana, that the sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. I want to thank Minister and the Auditor General and his staff for taking us through his estimates. Honorable members, let's turn to pages 98 and 99. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 9, Public and Police Service Commissions, Program 091, current expenditure, the sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 091, Public and Police Service Commission, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Thank you, Minister and the staff of the Public and Police Service Commissions. Sorry, we have the capital. Sorry. We now turn to page 495. 495. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 091, Public and Police Service Commission, capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Thank you, members. I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 091, Public and Police Service Commission, capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Thank you, Honorable Minister and the staff. Honorable members, let us turn to pages 102 and 103. Agency 10, Teaching Service Commission. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 10, Program 101, Teaching Service Commission, current expenditure, that the sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 10, Program 101, Teaching Service Commission, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Program 496. Sorry, page 496, same program. And I propose a question, honorable members, that the sum stated for Program 101, Teaching Service Commission, capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I now propose a question that the sum stated for Program 101, Teaching Service Commission, capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated stands part of the estimates. Thank you, Minister and the staff of the Teaching Service Commission. Honorable members, let us turn to pages 106 and 107. Honorable members, I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 11, Guyana Elections Commission, Program 111, Elections Commission current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Let's give a few moments for the staff of the Guyana Elections Commission to join the Honorable Minister. Yes, go ahead, honorable members. I propose a question that the sum stated stands part. Sorry, propose a question, honorable member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I note that there is a huge increase in terms of the allocation of some $5 billion plus for 2023 as opposed to 2.9 billion in 2022. I note also in volume 2, it states in terms of its indicator, that is the Guyana Elections Commission, that they're targeting 1 local government elections in 2023. Could the Honorable Minister tell this House what has caused this substantial increase? Because we know that they were planning for election last year, but they only had 2.9. So having the same elections in 2023, why are we now up at $5 billion? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
The allocation of an additional $1 billion is to facilitate local government elections. In fact, in the budget for GCOM, they have, if you go through all the lines, the heads, they have 1,328,372 put aside for specifically local government elections in anticipation of that. Last year, they had 4 billion. However, I think money was returned because there was no local government election. So it wasn't that they have the money available, There were a number of things that didn't go forward and therefore led to money being returned. So that it is expected that the 5 billion this time will be able to cover and to allow for the local government elections to go forward. So a number of heads and subheads are planned in that way with the increases.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence. Thank you very much, Honorable Member, Mr. Ramjatan.
Just to ask the question on that other operating expenses, I think there is a $800 million increase. Could we be a little more specific in the other expenses there?
Yes.
Honorable Minister.
Just give me a second. This would be other operating expenses. 62 would be heading 6294, where the increase is to do with the conduct of the claims and objection exercises and local government elections. So these costs include costs associated with the hire of 14,500 temporary staff to facilitate the local government elections. And because they're not permanent staff, they're temporary or what you call on limited contract, they would be under 6294 or other operating expenses.
Thank you, Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, to the Minister. I note that the budgeted amount for 2023 for rental and maintenance of building is $155+ million. Could you disaggregate that for us so we'll know what would be the cost for the rental of buildings, etc., for the holding of local government elections, apart from the normal rental that is being done by GCOM in their day-to-day activities? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Breakdown. Mr. Speaker, I'm advised that the GCOM has buildings that it owns, but also these are buildings in addition to, according to what Mrs. Lawrence asked. So there are 12 buildings that they're renting, that are rented by the Guyana Elections Commission as per norm. And so these are Maruka Culture, Youth and Sports Center, Santa Rosa, Dane Peters, Port Kaituma. Did you want the rental amount too? No. Munir Khan, 38 Section F Lagrange, Suez-Dyke, Hoostkoeverden, Block M, Suez-Dyke, Anand Sanasi, 31 Fort and Barrack Streets, Anand Sanasi, Lot 9, Fort Street, Kingston, J. Jaikaran and Sons, 8 Church Street and Sandal Place, Krishna Lal Prasad, Area M, Diamond, Nandini Narayan Sankar, Better Hope, Keith and Janice Griffith, Sheriff Street and William Street, Rup Narayan Prasad, Kroll Street, and Church of the Transfiguration, Mandela Avenue. So the total of the rental for these buildings on an annual basis is $44,370,000. In addition to the other buildings. Okay. They also, as you know, Madam, they have to identify the polling stations for the local elections. And the GCOM has not identified those locations as yet, but they have put in money for rental, but they have not got specific sites and specific rentals for that. Could you say how much that is? Yeah, I'm advised that this would normally take about upper 40 million. So that heading has about 93 million for rental buildings by the GCOM. And as I said, GCOM also has buildings that it owns itself in different parts of the country, which it is doing repairs on as well.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, to the Honorable Minister, on the line item education, subventions and training, I note that there is a hefty decrease in 2023. The revised figure for 2022 was $131 plus million. And in 2023, when the Elections Commission is targeting 2 rounds of claims and objections according to volume 2 and 1 local government elections, I note that the allocation is $71 million only. And this is an area, especially the education of the electors, that the commission is always lacking in.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Lawrence. The drop, the decline, as you've correctly noticed, has to do with the fact that the local GCOM completed almost all the training for the temporary staff for GCOM, elections for local government, and therefore they do not have to go into the same quantum or volume of training as they did last year. What they plan for this year is to have a mop-up training and to complete a small area that's not completed as yet. So they're saying they wouldn't need the same quantity of money as they did last year. So it's a mop-up of those already trained and a few areas where they still need to complete. Right?
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable members, Honorable Member, Ms. Fernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to follow up on the rental and maintenance of buildings, I did note the amount and I did note the response that says that GCOM hasn't yet identified the buildings that they intend to rent for the local government election. But my question is, compared to the previous local government election, what is the difference in the amount of private buildings that would be rented for the local government election?
Honorable Minister.
Yeah, I'm advised that based on the change in the constituency boundaries, that this may have an impact on the number of stations that will be required. Remembering this is local government and therefore it's not the entire country. And therefore there may be some shifting in the numbers they need and therefore the budgetary requirements. But I know personally, my own view is that, and I know that from GCOM, there has been a desire, an objective to try to rent as much as possible or to use public buildings and avoid, unless absolutely necessary, private buildings or private residences.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 11, Program 111, Elections Commission current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated for that agency and head now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, turn to page 497. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 11, Program 111, Elections Commission capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the allocation of $150 million, the legend states it's for building, furniture and equipment. Could I have an aggregation of that 150?
Aggregation or this?
Yes, at this aggregation, sir.
Sorry, Minister.
Yes.
Honorable Minister, go ahead.
Thank you. other than the very detailed breakdown, I'll just do them as you said. So buildings, it's 75 million, which includes a number of properties that GCOM has outside of Georgetown, like Tamari, Port Kaituma, Cariveton, etc. And then you have the boathouse and fence, which is where is that? Tamari. Then you have vehicles, boats, and engines. Sorry, so boathouse and fence is 5 million. Vehicles, boats, and engines is 55.6 million. Equipment, 13.1 million, and furniture, 1.2 million. So the heavy emphasis is on vehicles, boats, and engines, and the buildings, bringing the buildings into some repair. Is that okay?
Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a follow-up for the minister. Equipment, the minister's state would be $13.5 million. Is the minister indicating to the House that we will not be having biometrics at all? So they're not purchasing biometrics machines?
Honorable Minister.
Madam, I think Mrs. Lawrence knows the answer before she asked it, and that is a commission decision. And so if the commission makes that decision, then a supplementary will have to be prepared to give GCOM through this House to be able to do that. But at this point, as I understand, and I'm advised that GCOM has not made the commission has not made a decision on this as yet. The jury's out, as far as I understand.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 111 Elections Commission capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, staff of the Guyana Elections Commission. Honorable members, we can turn to pages 290 and 291.
Mr. Speaker, is there any way we can get a little cool air in? It's really hot for us sitting at the bottom here.
Yes, we can shortly. Honorable members, pages 290 and 291. The agency is 55, Supreme Court, the staff is in place. And I propose the question that the sum stated for program 551, Supreme Court of Judicature, current expenditure, that the sum stated stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Ramjatan.
Madam, Chairman, I see employment costs going up by about $100 and something million. Is this for the new set of judges that we understand are an increase in the recruitment of judges, both for the Court of Appeal and the High Court this year?
Honorable Minister.
It's under employment costs.
Speaker and the Honorable Member, the increase in the amounts reflect the 8% increase that's been given to all the members of the Supreme Court. If there are any addition of judges, etc., that will be through a supplementary coming back to the House.
Thank you, Honorable Member, Mr. Ramjatan.
No.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that the sum stated for program 551, Supreme Court of the Judicature, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, turn to page 524. And I propose a question that the sum stated for agency 551, Supreme Court of the Judicature, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Ramjitan.
Could it be, I noticed in constitutional 4,600, there is a $1.5 billion. Could that be disaggregated in simplistic terms for me?
Honorable Minister.
I'm not sure I can, but I will try. The 1.5 billion capital for the Supreme Court includes a significant number of what are rollover projects. Some are paying interim payments, some are now starting to pay, some have retention payments. So a large part of the budget of the Supreme Court is really things that started last year and are almost finished this year. Some are in retention period and others are new. So about 1.3 billion, if I have it right, is just on rollovers, payments, retention, etc. for all the new places that I believe my colleague, Minister Nandalal, referred to in his speech about the support to the Supreme Court. And then you have a number of new areas, elevators being put in for the Court of Appeal, scanners, generators, a number of issues to do with digital recording, biometric time machines, ACs. So in other words, these are the things being done at a number of the courts around the country. This is disaggregated so that in some areas, the different, magisterial courts and the courts are receiving equipment and things to make their functioning better and the conditions better. So there's a long list here, including trying to improve the condition in the living quarters for the persons who are in the regions who are carrying out the new courts. As we decentralize more, it's important for us to have a better living conditions for the judges, the magistrates, and the clerks as they move around the country. So this is a very significant capital investment for the courts of Guyana, court system for Guyana.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, Honorable Member Mr. Holder.
Thank you, Comrade Chair. Could the minister give the specific amount for the building being constructed in Sadi?
Sorry?
Building in Sadi, could you give the amount?
The building in Sadi,
provision
any specific amount
Building
for
at
that
where?
building?
Study?
Yep.
Study and Regina. Just bring it. Are you talking about the construction or the rewiring of the Supreme Court registry at Sadi? Hold on a second. I think they're two. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the one you're asking about, Mr. Holder, is to do with the registry. The Supreme Court registry, it's rewiring at 2.2 million. The question you're asking about is I think what you mean is the deeds registry? And that's not under the Supreme Court, that's under the Attorney General's ministry. And therefore you'll be able to ask him that question when he reports today.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 551, Supreme Court of the Judicature, capital expenditure, that the sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Thank you, Minister, and the staff of the Supreme Court. Honorable members, we can turn our attention to pages 294 and 295, the public prosecutions. I invite the staff to join the Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 56, Public Prosecutions Program 561, Public Prosecutions Current Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 561, Public Prosecutions Current Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, please turn to page 525. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 561, Public Prosecutions Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Ramstan.
Could there be a disaggregation of that almost $64 million, sir?
Honorable Minister.
The honorable member will remember that there was a fire that did consume a lot of equipment and areas that belong to the office of the DPP. So that what they've done last year and this year is to try to recoup, and therefore a lot of their capital is investing in equipment, webcams for computers, their iPads, software, routers, cabinets, a number of things that have been damaged or destroyed during the fire, as well as normal kind of things that exist, such as paper shredders and chairs, business chairs, refrigerators, those kind of things, a vacuum cleaner, installation of grills, fire alarm and smoke detector, that is also listed there. Construction of a perimeter fence for the DPP's office, construction of a concrete drain and main bridge, and construction of modern security hut. So approximately, Mr. Ramjitan, it's in terms of physical works, it looks as if there is about 40 odd million in physical works. That is the grills, the perimeter fence, the concrete drain, and the security hut with washroom. Those are 24 million, 9 million, and 9 million, right? So those are, the rest is all equipment, furniture, filing cabinets, chairs, things to replace and to accommodate staff that the DPP has at this point.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 561, Public Prosecutions, Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Thank you, Minister and staff of the DPP office. Honorable members, we can now turn to pages 298 and 299 and invite the staff of the Ombudsman Office to join the Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 57, Ombudsman, Office of the Ombudsman, Program 571, Ombudsman, Current Expenditure stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could the minister kindly inform the House whether we have an ombudsman? And if so, who is that person? And if we do not have one at this time, what is being done to have someone fill that vacancy?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm a little bit flabbergasted. The Honorable Ombudsman Mr. Patterson, Winston Patterson, Justice, was appointed in 2015, reappointed in 2018, and he is still in the position now as the Ombuds for Guyana. And as far as I know, he works hard, he does well, and so he's still the Ombudsman. He has been appointed repeatedly.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable member.
I don't know if the minister got the wrong Patterson, but this is the Patterson who's been the Ombudsman since 2015.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the, excuse me, that the sum stated for Program 571 Ombudsman current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, just a note to those online. You can raise your hands. We will monitor that, but you can also raise your voice if you need to speak. So we'll have the audio for the online people running all the time too. So if I don't recognize your hands, at least if you indicate by voice, I can also recognize you. Honorable members, let's turn to page 526. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 571, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 571, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Thank you, Minister and staff of the Ombudsman Office. Honorable members, please turn to pages 302 and 303 as we invite the staff of the Public Service Appellate Tribunal to join the Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 58, Public Service Appellate Tribunal, Program 581, Public Service Appellate Tribunal current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Ramsden.
It's a little difficult for me to point actually the item number, but in relation to this Public Service Appellate Tribunal, same amount this year, but could we get from the minister how many cases in 2022 did the Public Service Appellate Tribunal determine? Is there? No. I just want to know, you're spending six. Oh, order. Where do I get
Honorable Minister.
As the honorable member knows, this wouldn't be reflected in the budget, but that in their annual report, it should be presented. However, I'm advised that there were no cases in 2022 because there's been no Public Service Commission. The generation of cases to PSAT is based on decisions taken by the Public Service Commission. And therefore, for 2022, there were no cases heard at the PSAT.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 581, Public Service Appellate Tribunal current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Let's turn, honorable members. Well, thank you very much, Honorable Minister and staff. Honorable members, let us turn to pages 306 and 307 and invite the Ethnic Relations Commission to join the minister, the staff. Honorable members, I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 59, Ethnic Relations Commission, Program 591, Ethnic Relations Commission current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, to the Honorable Minister. Minister, I note that the indicators for this commission shows that they will be doing a lot of work this year in 2023. If we look at the targets, they're seeking to have some 104 statutory meetings, I think, and going around the country, etc., etc. I also note that at the second indicator, they have indicated that they will be filling some 26 vacancies. Yet when I look at the employment cost, I only see what was revised as per last year, $75,591, and the same amount is being allocated this year. Where are we budgeting for this additional 25 staff?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I think the whole House knows that we put on notice the conclusion of the ERC process of nominations and hope that this House, on the last day of the budget, when we come to an end, we could pass the motion to allow the ERC members who have gone through a long consultation process to be approved by this House so that we can send to the President for their appointment. So that in regards to the persons who have been on contract, we have not been able to renew them because there's no commission. So as the contracts have ended, they've left. Therefore, it's in the new, we have anticipated that the new commission will be hopefully in place early this year, and that the commission will then decide on its hiring practices, etc. But we have made provision for the similar staffing as of 2022, because it includes the 8% as well. But that the new commission would have a right, and as you know, the money in the commissions are lump sums. They can decide to move the money around to pay for more staff or for other things, but if required, they can apply for a supplementary.
Thank you, Minister. So, honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 591, Ethnic Relations Commission current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, turn to page 528. I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 591, Ethnic Relations Commission capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 591, Ethnic Relations Commission capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Thank you, Honorable Minister and staff of the Ethnic Relations Commission. Honorable members, let us now invite the staff of the Judicial Service Commission to join the Honorable Minister. And let's turn to pages 3, 10, and 11. Honorable members, I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 60, Judicial Service Commission Program 6001, Judicial Service Commission current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Ramsey.
Yes, could I ask the minister, when actually are we going to get the Judicial Service Commission working for 2023?
Honorable Minister.
Speaker, there's provision made for the new Judicial Service Commission, as far as I know. And the members, part of the members have been receiving stipend who are post holders, as if there was a commission, but that has been the practice. But to say this, that in April 2022, the leader opposition was written suggesting the name of the president's appointee and seeking his support. And the parliament had decided on who its nominee was, unanimously agreed to. Regrettably, the response to that by correspondence has not been to address the issue of the president's nominee, or the president's looking for support from the leader opposition for his nominee, as required by the Constitution, but instead has focused on the appointment of the Chancellor and the Chief Justice. So there are letters there hanging in the air, and that regrettably, we have not been able to move on this, but I believe that we shall see movement on this issue in the near future. But both gentlemen who have been appointed, one by Parliament and one who has been around for a long time in the judicial system, are worthy of our support in the Judicial Service Commission. As you know too, the chairman of the Public Service Commission, we're waiting on that issue to complete at the Committee of Appointment, and then for the president's nominees to be sent to the leader opposition, and hopefully he will be supportive of those names or have other names that are worthy of consideration, so that we can move forward the Public Service Commission as well. As you know, the chairman of that sits on the Judicial Service Commission.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 601, Judicial Service Commission, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Thank you, Minister and staff of the Judicial Service Commission. Honorable members, let's invite the members of the Rights Commission to join the Honorable Minister. And let us turn to pages 314 and 315.
Mr. Speaker, you may wish to advise the honorable members that this includes the Women and Gender Equality Commission, Rights of the Child Commission, and the IPC, Indigenous Peoples Commission, as well as the Human Rights Commission. So this covers those bodies. So one may want to look at that. These are different heading, different pages in the Appendix T, so that I assume that by putting, forgive me for not standing, but I need to catch myself. The rights commissions should normally, I think, are disaggregated, but in this case, they're put together, but there are different pages in the Appendix T. So I don't know if it's an omission or we made a mistake, which we probably all did, or that it is pages 710, 711, 709, and 712. Those are the different commissions. So I just wanted to get guidance on how we'll deal with that.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Thank you, honorable members. As Minister said, it has been aggregated in this heading, this program on the one, but it covers the Rights Commission that we have in existence now. I think they share a common secretariat, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So, honorable members, I propose Propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 611, Rights Commission of Guyana, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am looking at Appendix T, page 711, Women and Gender Equality Commission. I'm looking at the employment cost, and I would like to ask the minister two questions so she doesn't have to get up all the time. One is whether this increase of $11.348 million, whether that caters for the 8% increase, and whether that amount also catered for the increase which was given in 2021, which the commissioners did not receive.
Honorable Minister.
As far as I know, the commissioners do not receive salary increases because they're not employed. They're appointed. The staff of the commissions receive the salary increases, but not the commissioners. So commissioners receive the stipend, they're not employed, they're appointed, and they receive their stipends, but they do not receive the same increases as everyone else does. In this case, the in the women and gender, as far as I understand, it caters for the 8% that were given to staff, and I would believe I haven't heard that there's any problem that they weren't given the 7% in the rollover between 2021 and 2022.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Minister, could you kindly state the complement of staff which the Women and Gender Equality Commission have to assist them with their work? Because I'm looking at their targets for 2023, and in some cases, it has gone up over 100%, some of the things that they're planning to do. So I would like to know what is the complement of staff they have to assist them in achieving these targets.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
I'm advised, Madam Chair, that they have a chief executive officer and an administrative assistant. They are planning to hire 2 additional staff, driver and research planning officer, and therefore I believe they have catered for that as well as the normal gratuity and other direct labor costs.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 611, Rights Commission, Honorable Member, Ms. Hastings.
Thank you, Chair. I am looking at page 712, Indigenous Peoples Commission. And my question would be similar. What is the complement of the staff that we have at that commission? If the Honorable Minister can give us that.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, in addition to the commissioners, they have 2 full-time staffs, a chief executive officer, an administrative assistant. And just to remind MPs that the Human Rights Commission, which is the secretariat, provides the accounting and other core areas that are needed by Women and Gender Equality Commission, Rights of the Child, and Indigenous people. In terms of a number of admin core services, so that each commission doesn't have to have that right now.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 611, Rights Commissions of Guyana. Current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, turn to page 529.
We haven't passed rights to the child yet. We did do rights to the child? Oh, okay. All right.
529, Program 611, Rights Commissions of Guyana
Yes.
Capital Expenditure. And I propose the question that the sum stated stands part of the estimates.
Thank you.
Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 611, Rights Commissions of Guyana Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Thank you, Minister and staff of the Rights Commissions of Guyana. And let us invite the Public Procurement Commission. Thank you very much. Honorable members, let us turn to pages 318 and 319. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 62, Public Procurement Commission, Program 621, Public Procurement Commission current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Ramjatan.
Yes, could there be an explanation? Statutory wages and salaries have been increased by about $28 million here, from 35 to 61. What may have been the reason for that increase?
Honorable Minister.
It's 730.
Mr. Ramjatan, Mr. Speaker, you recall that the Public Procurement Commission was appointed around July 2023. Therefore, they were only paid half year or a little less than half year. So this is now the projection of the entire year to cover their stipends, their statutory requirements according to the law.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 621, Public Procurement Commission current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, let's turn to page 530. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Program 621, Public Procurement Commission capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 621, Public Procurement Commission capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated stands part of the estimates. Let's really thank the Honorable Minister and the staff of the Public Procurement Commission, along with the staff of our own ministry who has been shepherding and marshalling the accounts of all the agencies under her head. Thank you very, very much, staff. Honorable members, that concludes the sections for the agencies under the Honorable Minister. I know we've had a long session, and at 1:55, I'll ask the assembly resume so we can suspend to have our lunch intermission.